All right, so let's take a look at the plat again. So let's focus on page 2 of the plat, page 2 of 4. So we're going to set it up like the information that we have here. I'm going to go ahead and start labeling the boundary information and bringing in some of the other stuff that I can draw without having the this information here, all right, without having the wetland information, yada, yada, yada. Okay, so what I want to do is I'm going to go ahead and set up, and notice that theirs is basically a big blank area. So the first thing I'm going to do is go to my CAD, and I'm going to go to the Layout tab. All right. And I am going to go Page Layout. And we'll have to work with the colors that we have. So I'm going to modify this. That's fine. And I'm going to change the setting. And I'm going to make it the AutoCAD PDF. I'm going to pull this down, and it is going to be monochrome. May change that later. I haven't decided. And go ahead and do plot transparency. Sometimes I use transparency information. Landscape, everything else falls as is. And I'm going to go OK. All right. Now, I'm going to create a rectangle. And I'm going to start at comma 0, comma 0. And I'm going to do dimensions. I'm going to do 24 by 36. And I've got it going the wrong direction. All right, so rectangle, 0, comma 0, dimensions, 36, enter, 24, enter. Okay. And I'm just going to put this on. I just wanted to make sure that everything was lining up like I thought. I'm going to put this on layer 0 for right now. And there. Now I'm going to offset 0.25 just so I have a nice border around it. All right. So I'm going to offset that. So let's take a look at how the plat looks. Now the plats are usually county specific on how they want them set up. Okay, so for the most part, you have a border, and then you have on this side where all your plat notes go. So there's nothing special on this. So let's take a look at the next one. Okay, again, it's just an open border. Now I think I'm actually going to do an offset of a 1/2 inch. Offset 0.5. Okay. All right, and then I am going to call this, I'm going to start with this one, and I'm going to rename this, and I call it 1, page 1. And I'm going to come in here, and I'm going to duplicate this sheet. Okay, so I'm going to click it, left click, then right click, and then go move or copy. And I'm going to create a copy. I put move to end, and that's fine. So I'm going to rename, click it, rename. I'll come back to the cover in a bit. Rename this, and I'm going to call it sheet 2. All right, I'm not going to copy it just the next part just yet. Now in this one, let's go ahead and take a look at what they've got. You have this at 1 inch equals 100, and that's kind of a normal scale for the overall boundary. So that actually works pretty good, and it's nice that it fits on one sheet. We're picking a nice drawing to work on right now. So the first thing I'm going to do is double click inside the viewport. Automatically was generated with the drawing file itself, and it's on layer 0. I would get it off layer 0. You can change it. Usually we put it on a layer called viewport. Companies are different. So I'm going to zoom in on this. And regen. Trying to get zoomed in on the project. Regen. Then I'm going to come over here. I'm going to pull this down. And I am going to do a custom scale. I'm going to add. And the scale is going to be 1 inch equals 100 feet. And the drawing units are going to be 100. Okay. And I am going to go ahead and, oh, it's not going to let me delete that one. So never mind. That one is automatic. So we'll just go okay. I'm trying to keep things clean. So I'm going to change that to 1 to 100. And then I'm going to pan this down. And get it, oops, change the scale. 1 to 100. Double click outside of it. And the reason I'm going to go ahead and create this on a layer. So I'm going to create a layer called 0, view. I'm going to put everything 0 dash something. Just so it'll be at the top of our screen so I don't have to be looking for it. All right, I'm going to go ahead and tell it not to print. And it's just the layer itself. It's not going to be the view. Okay. So I'm going to come back. I'm going to go ahead and close this. I'm going to come back here and I'm going to change that to 0 viewport. All right. And it is, I'm going to go ahead and lock it. All right. So you can see that the text is awfully big here. So what I'd like to do is, first thing is I'm going to go ahead and change this scale to 1 to 100 to see what it looks like when I go to make the dimensions. And you can use this process over and over again. So let's take a look at the drawing and see how it looks. All right. So they use basically the boundary, the bearings and distances all on one line. So they're not stacked. Okay. So let's push that down. So I'm going to use what we have in the file. So this one says bearing. I'm going to just pull this over just a little bit. This is bearing over distance. Bearing and distance is what we're looking for. Now, it has a lot of information that we don't want. So I'm going to go ahead and create our own. So I'm going to, like if you went to label it, let's just do it this way. All right. Let me pull this back. So single segment, pull this down. Now, there's already existing ones in here because I borrowed this drawing. So let's look at what they've got, bearings and distance, and see how that looks, and add. Now, it's got the right dimensions to it, so always see what you have, and we'll see if we can make it better. All right, that one I'm going to delay or send that to the back because it's basically this long one that I want. And I can grab this and bring it to the center. Now, sometimes when I borrow stuff, you know, I improve on it. Let me do it one more time. And let me get rid of this one. Let's see what the layers look like. So this is at 1 to 100. When it prints out, I want it to print out at 0.1 in height. So I am going to edit the current selection. And I'm going to bring this over. And I'm actually going to change the name. So we're going to call it FAU. Okay? And then we're going to call it boundary. And the layout, so all of the dimensions are fine. If we had something that we need to change the decimal places, then we'd come over here. So when I click on this, see how it has 0.01, that's fine. This is degrees, minutes, and seconds, so that's all good. So all good. Now, the height is the correct height when it prints out, 0.1. And the bearing has both the bearing and distance on it. So you could come up here so you wouldn't be confused, bearing and distance, okay? Dragged, again, the height is 0.1, so that's all good. And the arrow size is 0.1, okay? Okay. And I'm gonna close this for right now. That would be what we would see on this. Oh, before we move on to that, I do need to modify this and create a layer that we can freeze something off and keep on. So I'm going to come up here to the top and I'm going to go ahead and make a few layers. So I'm going to go 0 dash I wish I could spell boundary dims. Okay, I am going to change that to not phantom, and we're going to call that continuous. I just clicked C and it'll pop up, and then I'm going to create another one. We're going to call it 0 lot dims. Okay. The reason we're doing this is because in certain places we'll want one on one thing and be able to turn it off in a different viewport. So I clicked on the label. I'm gonna go edit label style. That's just another way for it to pop up, and it automatically pops up like this. And then we're gonna go edit current selection. We want to make sure that that layer is on the proper layer that we just created. So this one's going to be on the, I'm going to scroll up, 0 boundary dims. Okay. So everything should be on the proper layer now. I'm going to go apply and okay and okay. And everything turns to the color that we anticipated. Fantastic. Now, let's take a look at what we've got. So we've got these labeled. These are pretty simple. Now what you're going to do is you're going to use just text and label the remaining layers or remaining information that you see here. Track B's, Track C, Dog Park, East right-of-way line, additional right-of-way that they're giving away. You can see that. Also be very conscious of the line types that you're using. So for example, this line right here is a phantom line, right? And then this is a hidden line. And then what you see on this page, I want you to mimic. Don't worry about this information over here. As we move through this exercise, like I said, I will provide you with kind of the fill-in material. But your job is to understand what you're labeling. So this is the northwest corner of lot 11. So up here, obviously, is, lot 11 is over here because it's the, This is lot 11 because this is the corner, northwest corner. It's the north line of lot 11. So this whole thing is lot 11 and there's lot 11. So that's the southeast corner of lot 11. So let's take a look at what this corner is saying. This is the southwest corner of lot 12. So originally, if I drew on this, again, bear with me because my drawing skills are horrible. If I went from here to here, Lot 11 is this portion. Lot 12 is this portion. You can see that this is lot 14. You can see that a portion of lot 13 is here. So just recognize when the surveyor is labeling this in his legal description, we'll take a look at the legal description in a minute, why things are written as they are. Even though you can't see the words lot 11, by it telling you that it is the northwest corner, and then this is the northeast corner of lot 11. This over here would be the north or the southwest and the southeast corner of lot 11, or it could be the northwest corner of lot 12. Depends on how the surveyor wants to label it out. Also note that there is an existing plat book that says that this was in a rural area, is got a 30-foot right-of-way on there. So you got to put all of the existing information on there in addition to the proposed information. So with that being said, I'm not going to do a whole CAD tutorial unless somebody needs help with CAD styles. I'm going to let this, I want you to work on putting the text on this map. You just have to worry about this portion basically over here. I mean, don't worry about these lot lines here. You can get the text in and then I'll find you the actual information. For the most part, what this is breaking down to is if I had 1314, and I had divide that by 4, each one of these technically should be, each of these quote lots should be 328 feet. So imagine, so I've got this one at 663.88 divided by 2. That's 333. The reason is these aren't perfectly square, so you're not going to get, an actual division. All right, so I'm going to go ahead and stop here. And then what I want you to do is go ahead and also put the text up here. So give yourself a little rectangle to put plat book and page. So what I'm assuming that I'm going to get from you all in this first assignment, and this is going to be an assignment where it's a staging. So this week we'll work on these few sheets, the first 2 sheets, and then the second assignment we'll build and we'll do the 3rd and the 4th sheet. All right, I'm going to go ahead and stop now. If y'all have questions, let me know.